There are worse crimes than burning books. One of them is not reading them. The surest defense against evil is extreme individualism, originality of thinking, whimsicality, even, if you will, eccentricity. For darkness restores what light cannot repair. Life, the way it really is a battle not between good and bad, but between bad and worse. Now to die of grief would mean, I'm afraid, to die belatedly. While latecomers are unwelcome, particularly in the future. The fact that we are living does not mean we are not sick. Man is what he reads. What concerns me is that man, unable to articulate, to express himself adequately, reverts to action. Since the vocabulary of action is limited, as it were, to his body, he is bound to act violently, extending his vocabulary with a weapon, where there should have been an adjective. The eye identifies itself, not with the body it belongs to, but with the object of its attention. If there is any substitute for love, it is memory. For a writer, only one form of patriotism exists: his attitude toward language. After all, it is hard to master both life and work equally well. So if you are bound to fake one of them, it had better be life. The longer you stay skeptical, doubtful, intellectually uncomfortable, the better it is for you. Life is a game with many rules but no referee. One learns how to play it more by watching it than by consulting any book, including the Holy Book. Small wonder, then, that so many play dirty, that so few win, that so many lose. An object, after all, is what makes infinity private. Snobbery. But it's only a form of despair. The real history of consciousness starts with one's first lie. Poetry is rather an approach to things, to life, than it is typographical production. Buenas noches. Don't mind the roaches. Love is an attitude toward reality, usually of someone finite towards something infinite. If one's fated to be born in Caesar's empire, let him live aloof, provincial, by the seashore. Of all the parts of your body, be most vigilant over your index finger, for it is blame-thirsty. A pointed finger is a victim's logo. The Constitution doesn't mention rain. When I am not writing or reading, I am thinking about both. And geography blended with time equals destiny. Believe your pain. This awful bear hug is no mistake. nothing that disturbs you is. Remember all along that there is no embrace in this world that won't finally unclasp. In the end, like the Almighty Himself, we make everything in our image, for want of a more reliable model. Our artifacts tell more about ourselves than our confessions. In the business of writing, what one accumulates is not expertise but uncertainties, which is but another name for craft. The accumulation of things not spelled out, not properly articulated, may result in neurosis. Bad literature is a form of treason. For in a real tragedy, it is not the hero who perishes. It is the chorus. A glance leaves an imprint on anything it's dwelt on. Secrecy is a hotbed of vanity. What's wrong with discourses about the obvious is that they corrupt consciousness with their easiness, with the speed with which they provide one with moral comfort, with the sensation of being right. The Last Judgment is the Last Judgment, but a human being who spent his life in Russia has to be, without any hesitation, placed into paradise. The instinctive preference was to read, rather than to act. No wonder our actual lives were more or less a shambles. What gets left of a man amounts to a part, to his spoken part, to a part of speech. What paradise and vacation have in common is that you have to pay for both, and the coin is your previous life. Plain and simply, a love lyric is one's soul set in motion. If it's good, it may do the same to you. More than anything, memory resembles a library in alphabetical disorder, and with no collected works by anyone. The present engenders the past far more energetically than the other way around. Aesthetic sense is the twin of one's instinct for self-preservation, and is more reliable than ethics. Love is more powerful than separation, but the latter is more lasting. A rhyme turns an idea into a law. And, in a sense, each poem is a linguistic codex. Scratch on, my pen. Let's mark the white the way it marks us. The moment that you place blame somewhere, you undermine your resolve to change anything. I sit in the dark, and it would be hard to figure out which is worse, the dark inside or the darkness out. Creativity is an unending exercise in uncertainty. In general, with things unpleasant, the rule is the sooner you hit bottom, the faster you surface. When the eye fails to find beauty, alias, solace, it commands the body to create it, or, failing that, adjusts itself to perceive virtue in ugliness. The most desirable woman for a man is the one that seems unapproachable. Cherish your human connections, your relationships with friends and family, even your super weirdo creep cousin. On the whole, love comes with the speed of light, separation with that of sound. If I can get somewhere, I'm all right. If not, I'm miserable. No matter under what circumstances you leave it, home does not cease to be home. No matter how you lived there, well or poorly. Perhaps the best proof of the Almighty's existence is that we never know when we are to die. For boredom speaks the language of time, and it is to teach you the most valuable lesson of your life, the lesson of your utter insignificance. A poet is a combination of an instrument and a human being in one person, with the former gradually taking over the latter. The sensation of this takeover is responsible for timbre, the realization of it for destiny. I don't have principles. I have nerves. Every individual ought to know at least one poet from cover to cover. If not as a guide through the world, then as a yardstick for the language.